The biggest games, the greatest players, and the largest payouts on the planet. The WPT is a series of international high-stakes poker tournaments that can turn amateur players into millionaires and make professionals into superstars. With millions of dollars on the line, it's time for these 6 players to live the dream of fame, fortune, and the one thing money can't buy, a WPT title. Tonight on the World Poker Tour.
From one of the biggest tournaments of the year at one of the biggest casinos in the world, the World Poker Finals start right now, so shuffle up and deal.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Sexton. Welcome to the final table of the championship event of the World Poker Finals here at Foxwoods Resort Casino.
And I'm Vince Van Patten, and Mike, we are just moments away from something big happening at the largest casino in the country, Foxwoods. You know, Mike, the World Poker Finals at Foxwoods is always one of our biggest events on the tour. And taking home a WPT title is huge. But to do it at Foxwoods, I mean, that is part of poker history. Oh, and by the way, the winner's going to take home $1.7 million. How about that?
Well, Vince, this is one of the big ones for more reasons than one, and the players know it. 575 amateurs and pros from all over the world came to Connecticut to try to capture this prestigious WPT event. And what a great final table we've got tonight. And the intriguing part is that in the history of the World Poker Tour, no player has ever won the same tournament twice. Yet tonight, we have not one, but 2 champions of this event at the final table. The first is the defending champion, Nenad Medic. The second, Nick Schulman, going for his second WPT title tonight.
And then, of course, we have a very highly regarded online player, Tom Dwan, also a high-stakes poker player from Vegas. And then we have 2 amateur players. One is in investment banking, the other in the construction business, all looking to take home $1.7 million.
Well, the big question is, who's going to walk out of the woods with $1.7 million in their pocket tonight?
The outfoxing about to begin at Foxwoods. Let's go watch them gamble. Lots of excitement here. The largest casino in the United States. Antes are going to be 5,000. Blinds at 30 and 60. The cards are flying. Action is going to be on the WPT champion, Nenad Medic.
Nenad is the defending champion of this event.
Looks down at a 9-8. He quickly folds. Mike Vella out. Mark Weitzman.
Mark, a long-time top-notch poker pro.
He's folded.
Action now on the amateur, Mike White. Mike looks down at a pair of 9s.
Whoa.
He's on the button. He's a construction worker.
Raise.
And Vince, the guy's actually gone to work every day this week while he's playing in this tournament.
Man,
incredible.
Sorry to hear it. All right, well, he is going to take the 9s, and he's going up. He's going to raise it to $175,000 to go into WPT champion, the youngest champion on the tour, Nick Schulman.
Well, Nick won this tournament 2 years ago. As you said, he's been the youngest winner in the history of the World Poker Tour at 21 years and 1 month.
And he's got an uneventful 5-10. He's going to muck it. And now Tom Dwan, the chip leader, has a big hand, ace, queen of hearts.
Well, this is very confident, sort of cocky 21-year-old. Comes to this final table as the big chip leader.
He's from Edison, New Jersey. He's a heck of a player. He might be cocky, but his nickname is Durr. I don't know how you get too cocky with that nickname.
Raise.
Well, he's going to re-raise.
Yep.
Going to try to find out where he's at right now. He comes over the top with a healthy raise. Going to make it $640,000 to go here.
Well, he's thinking Mike just had the button. He can't be that strong. I have a solid hand. I'm coming over the top. Little does he know, Mike has a very strong hand. Pair of 9s.
Well, Vance, he's also got a problem. You see him twitching in his seat there. You don't want to go out of any tournament on the final table on the first deal. He recognizes how much money is at stake here tonight.
I call.
Well, he's just going to call.
Well, it's over $1.5 million difference between the guy who goes out first and the guy who wins this tournament. That's a lot of working days, Vince.
How much more do you have, roughly?
And believe me, if you're getting a paycheck, folks, you know what I'm talking about. Life-changing money here.
Well, let's see if the construction worker will get lucky on this flop. It's a good flop for him, 4-4-3.
Well, indeed it is. There's no overcards to the 2 9s out there. Action's going to be on Tom Dwan, however.
Tom, nothing hitting from there. Ace high at this point. Is he going to take a stab with a continuation bet? Yes, he is.
Well, Vance, you can't blame him. Over $1.3 million in the pot.
Well, it's a $335,000 bet. Just a feeler.
Mike has got to recognize the only hands that can beat him right now are 2 aces, 2 kings, 2 queens, 2 jacks, 2 10s. Now, yes, this kid could have it, but he's been very aggressive throughout the final few tables of this tournament.
Call.
I'm sure Mike White knows it, and he just makes the call. Does not raise with 2 9s here.
Yep.
Taking the conservative route.
Let's see if it'll pay off for him. Here comes the turn card.
You know, Jack of clubs comes up. Puts 3 clubs on the board. What would the 21-year-old do now?
That's a scary card for Mike White.
Check.
He's going to sweat this, but he must love hearing check there by Tom.
Well, Mike, and look what he's doing, Vince. Just what an amateur would do here. Looks back at his hand, I'm sure, to see if he had the 9 of clubs as one of his 2 9s. He doesn't have, so he checks the 2 9s here.
Give a free card to the young 21-year-old. Can he suck out here? Nope.
Well, 10 of spade comes off. Now, Vince, if you're sitting in Tom Dwan's seat, you've got to recognize that most likely the only way you're going to win this pot is if you bet at it, because you can't beat ace-king, you can't beat ace-jack, ace-10, any pair. So essentially, if you check here, you're waving the white flag.
Well, that's true.
I check.
Let's see if he'll bet. No, he slows down. He's going to check it.
And he's going to check, and Mike is happy to check it down, it looks like. He's going to win the first pot here at this final table, and that's going to make the construction guy feel mighty good. He gives it the fist pump.
Gets a standing ovation from his friends, family.
I tell you, the Mike White fans have come to life.
The construction man hammers the nail into the pot, takes down that one.
I definitely consider myself an amateur poker player. I'm sure they have a half a book of tells on me. So I'm going to try to change things around a little bit.
And by the way, in his home game, friends, and they cut out of the pot to see who could come to Foxwoods, play in a satellite, and Mike won it.
Well, Vance, looks to me like they sent the right guy to play in this tournament. If he wins it, it's sure going to pump up the home game.
Sorry, guys.
From Mashantucket, Connecticut, the World Poker Finals continue. Stay tuned for more on the WPT.
My trap worked. He's only got 4 outs. This guy's going home.
Come on, 9.
Sometimes making the right move isn't enough, but there's always another hand. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
It's so ridiculous that we're both at the final table. The odds of that are just astronomical.
I think the odds, it's about, I don't know, it's very unlikely.
And this is like the most hungry I've been. It would be great to win the same tournament twice, considering no one's ever done that. That would be a cool accomplishment to have, and that's what I'm going to try to do.
It would be pretty huge. It would be pretty huge to go back-to-back.
Welcome back to the World Poker Finals at Foxwoods. 6 players are here. Winner's going to take home $1.7 million.
Our current chip leader won this event 2 years ago, Nick Schulman, the defending champion on the short stack right now. That's Nenad Medic in seat number 1.
All right, back to the action. It's going to be on Mike Vela, amateur player. He's a senior vice president of an investment company.
He looks down at 2 5s right now.
210. Yeah, and he's going to get aggressive with it. Going to make it $210,000 to go.
Over to top pro, Mark Weitzman. Looks down at a 9 deuce and folds.
Yeah, now Mike White, who won the first hand, he's going to look down at a pair of 4s, 44, midlife crisis.
He's got to feel like he's got a new tool belt on after taking down the first pot here, so he's feeling good.
A couple wired pairs, back to back, not too bad.
They call him.
And he is going to make the call with the 2 4s.
Nick Schulman going out. Now it's around to Tom Dwan. He's got 2 ladies.
Unbelievable.
Pair of queens. Unreal. 3 wired pairs in his hand.
Raise.
He's going to raise it. Remember, he got burned in the last pot.
Why not? You got dead money already in there. That would be the limper, the caller.
Well, over $500,000 out there right now.
Well, it looks like an additional $550,000. It's going to be $760 total. Next to act is Nenad Medic. Nenad with a king-queen.
Now, Nenad doesn't even have that much money. He's on the short stack here with only about $500,000.
I'll go all in.
Well, Vince, he's going all in here. A little surprised by this play by the defending champion. When one guy's raised, another called, another guy came over the top. You know these guys have got hands. But what Nenad is looking at is all that money that's sitting in the middle of the pot. Well over $1 million out there right now. So he's going to try to triple up here.
Look, sir.
The 5s and the 4s have gone out, so...
Too much money up there.
So as the cards lie, Tom Dwan, a nice favorite. to take down this pot and eliminate the defending champion, Nenad Medic.
Last year won this title. He picked up $1.7 million. He's been a professional poker player for 4 years, highly respected in the game.
We've never had a player successfully defend his title on the World Poker Tour, but if he's going to do it, he's going to have to get lucky and win this pot.
Nenad Medic, the gentle giant, on the ropes right now.
Still kings left in the deck, right?
Yep. No one folded one.
I had two.
And nobody else in the pot had a king in their hand, so he's drawing live, as we say.
Some clubs left in the deck as well, right?
No, it's going to come Jack 10, 9, 8 of clubs.
Very confident Tom Dwan, loving this. Let's see if his hand is out in front still. 9-3 deuce, not good for Nenad.
Just call for a king, Adam. A kid I live with just called for a king.
Well, look at Tom Dwan. He said, my roommate just called for a king here. So he might find this stuff on the stoop when he gets home, this guy, if a king comes up. Nenad could backdoor a straight or catch a king to win this pot. Well, there's one of his straight cards. A jack comes off. That means if a 10 comes up, he would win the pot with a king high straight.
I'm going to stab you.
And, of course, he can catch a king to win the pot. So he has more outs, as we say, because of the turn card. He can catch a king or a 10 and win the pot. He must do so to stay alive.
I almost spit water all over the table.
To catch lucky if he's going to be a repeat winner here at Foxwoods. It's all coming down to the last card.
I sweat it.
It's a king! Wow! Lightning strike for the defending champion, Vince.
So it's going to be one of those kind of nights, Mike.
Well, the other players at the table stunned at that river card. They would have moved up in real money, taken one step closer to capture a WPT title, and been rid of the defending champion had that king not popped up on the river.
That's a really sick first two hands.
Nenad Medic decided to go for the big pot right there. It pays off. He is alive and well at Foxwoods.
How many lives do I have in this tournament?
That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Nice answer.
The rest of you can go home now. It's been a huge roller coaster ride. Right now I'm short, but I just know that somehow it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. When I pick up chips, I think it's all over.
Well, Mike, right there, a pretty loose play with King, Queen, putting all his money in there. You're a former Foxwoods champion here. Would you have made that same move there?
Well, I probably wouldn't have, Vince. I would hope the other two guys would have clashed, and I might could have moved up a spot. When two guys raised in front of me, I probably would have mucked the king-queen, but I understand Nenad's logic there. He only had about $500,000 left. He's looking at four guys that got well over $3 million in chips. He's got to gamble somewhere. Why not do it when there's a lot of money in the pot? Now he's got over $1.5 million in chips.
I'll take my time, get some TV time.
Here he looks down at the ace-5 of hearts.
Well, he's got the button, the best position in poker. You get to act last throughout the hand. It's a huge advantage in Texas Hold'em.
Well, he's going to raise it. Makes it $200,000 to go.
Mike Vella going out. Only one to beat is going to be Mark Weitzman. Very tough pro who we've seen at the final table on the WPT before. He's got ace-3.
Mark Weitzman, a long-time high-stakes professional player. Been a pro for 21 years. And he's played in a lot of big games in his day, Vince. He's faced with a tough decision here. He's got an ace-3 offsuit. He's on the short stack at this final table now.
Wow, he's going over the top all in.
Well, Vince, I think a lot of his decision-making had to do with who he's up against here. He understands Nenad's a top pro, that he makes position raises on the button, that he might not have as good a hand as an ace-high, and even if he's got an ace-high, maybe he'll get away from it if it has a weak kicker. That's exactly the scenario. Nenad's got an ace-5.
635.
This is going to be a tough call for Nenad to make because he just won all those chips in the previous pot to get back in the hunt. Now he'd be giving them back if he played this pot and lost it. But
this time,
the pot's got about $1.1 million in it. It's going to cost Nenad slightly over $600,000 to make the call. So he's getting just under 2-to-1 odds in this situation. And anytime you have an ace in your hand, when you're getting over 2-to-1 odds, you're supposed to make the call.
Oh, forget about all that. Do you feel lucky, punk, or not?
Well, perhaps that's what it's going to come down to.
This is probably an easier decision than I make.
I want to see his hand. I'm curious.
The top one is saying, I'm curious.
You're probably going to get to see it.
Players that are not in the hand should just keep their mouths shut. when referring to the hand at play. That's not a thing you want to do. You don't want to coerce, and all of a sudden Nenad decides he's going to call it. Interesting table talk going on there.
Well, I don't think he had any influence on the Nenad decision
you know what,
there.
You shouldn't say a word. When two guys are in the pot, I really object to another player saying anything to coerce. It just shouldn't happen.
I would agree with that. The kid's 21, Vince. He's got to learn.
All right.
Usually a chop pot.
Nenad is out front, but most of the time, this is going to be a split pot when two players have an ace with a baby kicker, because 4 cards figure to come up higher than a 6.
Milena, Nenad's girlfriend, on the sidelines, and they are rooting the big man on. Will his hand hold up? Can he knock out the first victim here at Foxwoods? 5 cards to come. Here's the flop.
9-7 deuce.
It's a great flop for you.
So far, Nenad still out in front with the ace-5. Of course, any 2 cards over a 6, this would be a split pot unless they were hearts.
8 of hearts is not bad.
Here comes the turn card, Jack of hearts.
Well, this gives Nenad a flush draw. The only way Nenad can lose this pot is if a 3 comes up. If any card over a 6 comes up, that's not a heart, it will be a split pot. Or if a deuce comes up.
Here's the river card.
It is a deuce of hearts. Nenad Medic has made an ace-high flush. And the longtime pro out of Las Vegas, Mark Weitzman, is going to finish in 6th place.
Well, he gets a big ovation. Mark Weitzman, originally out of Tel Aviv, now living in Vegas. The math genius has to say goodnight.
Well, Vince, you have to wonder if it's going to be deja vu all over again for Nenad Medic from 1 year ago when he took down this title, off to a phenomenal start by hitting 2 river cards to win 2 pots.
And just like that, we are down to 5 players at Foxwoods. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more action from the World Poker Tour.
There's a story in every seat on the WPT. Find in-depth coverage on your favorite players online at WPT on GSN.com.
The Foxwoods World Poker Finals is probably in the top 5 tournaments in the country, and we're thrilled to have the largest turnout on the WPT so far this season. We're very proud of our track record here at Foxwoods. Each year we try to make everything better and better. Every time when the World Poker Tour comes into town and we put on these shows, it's just terrific.
Welcome back to Foxwoods, where one of these remaining players is about to become the next WPT Poker Made millionaire. Let's get back to the table.
5 players are left, fighting it out for $1.7 million. And Vince, they've all got chips.
Yes, they do. But right now, it's the young Nick Schulman, WPT champion, out in front with $4.5 million.
Everybody in the millions, which means they've all got a shot.
It's going to be on Nick. He's got a 9-8 of hearts in this hand.
He's going to raise it, makes it $150,000 to go with the 9-8 suited.
Tom Dwan out. The Nod not playing. Mike Vella going away.
Around to Mike White. We just have 1 blind in this pot because Mark Weitzman just got broke in the previous pot. Just has a king-6 offsuit.
Call.
But Mike is going to make the call. He's going to gamble here with a king-6 offsuit.
Well, he's already got some money in there. He's going to speculate. So king-6 for Mike White up against Nick Schulman, 9-8 of hearts. First 3 cards coming up.
The flop comes 8-7-4 with 2 clubs. Nick now out in front with the 2 8s. Mike White, of course, has the gut shot straight draw. Action's on the amateur. He's going to check.
Nick Schulman hitting 8s there.
Well, he's going to bet him $250,000.
Back around to the construction man from Connecticut. Got the inside dream straight draw. Do you want to just try to hit lucky right now?
Well, he does make the call here. So he is gambling.
Turn card coming up. And it's a big ace.
Well, it's the ace of clubs, too. So 3 clubs on the board now.
Neither player having a club, of course.
But neither player can like that card.
Action's on construction guy. He's checked it.
The question is, will that card slow Nick Schulman down? Sort of a scare card for him. Well, he's not scared. He's going to bet $510,000.
And the jig is up for Mike White. He is going to muck his hand. And Nick Schulman, the 23-year-old, the youngest player ever to win on the WPT, takes down this pot with a pair of 8s.
I think the amateur might be calling just a little bit too much. I just hate to give chips away. They're all valuable. When you're calling the gut shot straights, most of the time, you end up giving them away. So Nick Schulman taking down that pot, adding to his chip lead.
Well, he is an exciting player to watch. The youngest player ever on the WPT to take the title home. And it was right here at Foxwoods a couple years back.
Could be poker history tonight in case Nick wins this tournament or the defending champion and Medic wins it. We've never had a player win the same event twice. It could happen tonight.
All right, back to the action. It's going to be on Nod, former college basketball star, and he's going to fold his hand. Mike Vella going out.
Now over to the amateur. Mike White on the button. Looks down at a pretty nice hand on the button. King, queen.
Yeah, and he is going to get some chips out.
I raise.
And he is going to raise it.
Well, he's got the button. He's got position. He had people folding before him. He's got a pretty decent hand, and he's going to bump it up to 120,000 to go.
Well, that's the minimum raise, and generally that entices blinds to call you. Nick Schulman is calling here. Tom Dwan looks down there.
Tom with ace-3 also going to call.
Well, Vince, there's 325,000 in there, so Tom is going to call 60,000 more. So here we go, three-way action.
Here's the first three cards. It's a 4-4 deuce.
Oh, nice flop for Nick. He now is out front with fours and deuces.
But he checks it.
Tom has a gut shot straight draw. If I would give him a straight, but he also checks.
And now it's on Mike. Will he fire, even though nothing materialized on that flop?
Oh, Vince, he is firing.
Oh, yeah.
And firing pretty good here. He's betting 440,000, more than a pot-sized bet.
But Nick Schulman not going anywhere. He doesn't buy it. He is going to call with the deuces and fours.
Well, Tom Dwan going out. So here comes the turn card. 4 spades comes off. This gives Nick a full house. 4s full of deuces. And he checks.
Yes, he does. Now let's see if Mike White will slow down at all. Yes, he does. He does slow down. He is checked as well. We're going to the river.
And the river card is, oh, the Queen of Hearts.
Oh, wow.
Mike White now has the best hand. He's got 4s full of queens. Action's on Nick. Again, he checks.
And Mike White, the construction man, can't believe his luck.
Well, he's reaching for chips here, Vance.
He sure is.
See how much he's going to bet. There's over 1.2 million in the pot.
Well, he is going to bet 900,000.
Oh, when you see the anguished look on Nick's face right here.
Yeah.
Because all he's thinking about was, did the queen really hit this guy?
He's got that look like he knows he's been out-rivered here.
Well, Vince, you always feel that way. The guy's checked on the turn. All of a sudden, he's going to bet on the river.
Now, this is very frustrating if you're Nick, but he didn't play it aggressively. And right now, I think he can make this lay down. I don't think this amateur would really make this move with the amount of chips he has with absolutely nothing.
What you're saying, if he had an ace high or something like that, he'd just check it down, hope to split the pot, or maybe win the pot.
I think you got to give him credit for something.
You might be right, Vince. He's only got 1.7 million left. He's bet 900,000 here.
Mr. White.
But Nick is going to make the call here. He is going to be sick when he sees how he lost this pot. Nick didn't raise on the flop. He didn't bet on the turn, and now he calls on the river when he probably shouldn't. 3 strikes and you're out, as they say. Mike White taking down this pot.
Yes, and look at his crowd is loving it. His friends and family almost causing a riot here. Absolutely loving this on their feet.
Well, why not? Over $3 million in that pot. Mike White taking it down, and I guarantee you, Nick Schulman not happy with the way he played that hand.
A deep hurt there for Nick Schulman. Rivered out. 5 players remain going at it at Foxwoods. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more action from the World Poker Tour.
Well, work's very important. I didn't plan on going too far in the tournament, so I never made any plans to take any time off of work. So every night I go back home after playing, and I get up in the morning and go to work for a little while and make my way here.
And in the 4th seat, Mike White.
Winning the tournament would be fantastic.
Welcome back to Foxwoods. The World Poker Finals continues. We are 5-handed here, and right now we have a new chip leader. He's an amateur player, the construction man, Mike White.
And Vince, here's a guy that's been to work every day this week while he's playing in this tournament. That is incredible. The guy with a paycheck is going for $1.7 million today. Life-changing money.
Got his friends and family in the audience. They've got to be loving it.
He's got some tough pros to get around to win this title, including the guys that won this event the last 2 years.
He's got an ace, 8 of diamonds, and he has come to play.
60 to go.
Yeah, they're telling him it costs $60,000 to call. Trying to entice him to call there, man. It's pretty interesting. Gotta be feeling good right now because he just took the chip lead.
Raise.
And he's going to raise it, makes it $240,000 to go.
Nick Schulman with ace-10. You got to know that he just despises the man on his right. He's going to fold his hand.
Well, Vince, he should be mad at himself the way he played that last hand.
Now Tom Dwan, Jack-10 of diamonds.
Well, he's got the suited connectors you like to see flops with, but he gives the amateur respect as well and goes out, as does Nenad.
I see your hand one time. I'll owe you a pre-flop show. I folded a huge hand.
Tom said he folded a huge hand, and he...
All right.
And look, he's going to get the construction man to show this hand.
He'd have been better off to show him the 8, Vince. Show him one that's going to put him on tilt a little bit.
In a small pot.
And Tom says, I'll show you mine later on. It's like kindergarten, you know. I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Well, Vince, if I had to give any advice to Mike White right now, it would be don't show these guys anything. Give them nothing. Don't show them anything. That's what I say.
Of course, I got over $4 million now. What's that?
Mike White going to his wife there, having a little pep talk. He is out in front with $4.3 million, everything going his way.
Well, Vince, whether you're an amateur player or a pro player, when you win some pots at a final table and are the chip leader, your confidence is growing and you're starting to think, hey, I can win this tournament.
All right, action going to be on Mike Vela. And this time he looks down to 10-6 of diamonds, but he's going to raise.
Feeling his oats, makes it $165,000 to go.
Mike White quickly folding. Nick Schulman also out.
Over to Tom Dwan, who's in the small blind, meaning he's got $30,000 invested.
Well, he's only got an 8-5 of spades, but he's looking over at Mike.
Look at Mike Vela there. He's trying to be stoic, very firm, trying to act like he's got a strong hand.
Raise.
Tom Dwan must suspect that he doesn't. It's a tell, as we say in the business. Tom taking advantage of it by coming over the top here. He is going to raise it. He makes it $510,000 to go with an 8 high.
Got a good read on Mike there. And now it's on Nenad.
Nenad Medic now in the think tank as to what to do.
Big hand, the notorious ace-queen here on the WPT.
Well, most of the time, when you've got an ace-queen and the pot's been raised and re-raised before it gets to you, you just quietly muck it.
Yeah, but this is the same guy that early on called a raise and a raise with king-queen for all his money, got lucky, stuck around.
Well, Vince, you just have to sense that Nenad picked off Mike Vela and that he didn't have that strong a hand either. And now what he's wondering is, did Tom pick it off and is making a move because of that? He does not want to give up this ace-queen.
Well, both Mike and Tom don't want to hear raise from Nenad. And they're not going to. Nenad finally folding the hand.
Well, he lays it down, but reluctantly so.
How much have over this? Back on Mike Vela.
Oh, and Mike says, how much have you got?
Oh, boy. He's making threatening statements here.
Well, Vance, I'll tell you one thing. If this amateur player comes back over the top of a guy that re-raised him in this spot, call the band. Let's have a parade for the guy.
2-9. A little more.
Couple players with bologna sandwiches, but the bologna king is going to be Tom Dwan as Mike Vela has laid down his hand.
Well, what can you say about the instincts of Tom Dwan here, picking off that bluff?
I've played more hands than probably the other 4 people except Nick combined. Not probably, like I'm sure I have. I definitely feel like I have an experience edge on them. I would expect you'll see my name at some other World Poker Tour final tables, but I'm not making any promises there. Nenad, were you actually thinking?
We'll see.
If you shove, I don't know what I do. If he shoves, I'm probably calling.
They're betting with anything. Stay tuned. We're coming back for more action in just a moment.
Get inside the game with stats, videos, and profiles on all your favorite WPT players at WPT on GSN.com.
The 3 youngest players, me, Nick, and Tom, for sure I think are the most dangerous players here. If I had to give odds, I would say it's like 90 to 95% that one of us 3 wins this tournament.
Welcome back to the WPT. The World Poker Finals from Foxwoods continues. And we have 2 amateurs out in front on the chip leaderboard. Construction man Mike White, the local, he has $4.4 million. Mike Vela with $4.2 million.
Well, Vince, the amateurs are out front right now. They got some tough pros still sitting at this table, including the 2 guys that won this event the last 2 years. For them to cross the finish line, they got a lot of work cut out for them yet.
All right, the gambling will continue. Mike White, the chip leader.
Looks down at ace-4 clubs.
An attractive hand when you have the button sitting in front of you.
He's getting out some raising chips, and indeed he is going to raise it. Makes it $175,000 to go.
Into his old nemesis, Nick Schulman, who's going to lay down his hand. And now the only one to beat is Tom Dwan. Mr. Bluff himself, he's got a 10-3 of spades. Not much of a hand.
He's got 60,000 in the pot. There's nearly 300,000 out there. Going to cost him 115,000 to make the call. But remember what he did a moment ago with an 8-5 of spade against the other amateur. He came right over the top after Mike Vella raised it and took down that pot with just the 8 high. Could he be contemplating making the same kind of move again against Mike White?
Well, he is going to get stubborn. He's going to make the call.
He's going to gamble here. Feels like he's getting a good price to do so. Let's see what happens.
Here we go with the flop.
King 8-7 with 2 clubs. Mike White now has the nut flush draw, the ace-high flush draw. Tom, of course, has nothing. Action's on him.
I check.
And he is going to check it. And let's see if Mike White will do the continuation bet. He's 4 flush, but no, he slows down. He checks after raising.
Surprised by that. But it's certainly going to work out well for him because the 5 of clubs comes on the turn. He now has the ace-high flush.
I like that check he did on the flop now.
Well, if you knew that was coming off, it was a great check.
Didn't chase his player away, and now it's on Tom Dwan, who still has nothing, but...
When you have nothing, and your opponent checks on the flop, sometimes it entices you to go after it.
Not this time. He has checked again. Let's see what Mike White does with almost a cinch hand at this point. He's going for chips.
Oh, he's going to check the nut flush here.
Sneaky. I like this.
He's going to hope Tom is going to bluff at this pot on the river.
Ooh, and a 10 on the river gives Tom Dwan a pair of 10s.
Well, that's the way this hand's been played. Tom Dwan's got to think 2 10s are the best hand.
Absolutely.
The guy didn't bet on the flop. He didn't bet on the turn. Wouldn't shock me if Tom tries to get a value bet in here.
Yeah.
Or at least what he thinks is a value bet.
It looks like he's getting chips out, and he is going to contribute to the construction fund.
Well, he bets 190,000.
And that is just music to Mike White's ears. I mean, that is just what you play for in poker. When you've got almost the absolute nuts, and the guy's betting into you.
Yeah, look at this, Vince. He pulls down the sunglasses, puts his head down. He's going into summer stock acting school right now. We know he's going to raise it. It's just a matter of when and how much.
There is.
He is going to raise it.
Okay.
Finally, the words come up. And Tom Dwan sits up in his chair. He doesn't like hearing those words. But he's going to make it 700,000 to go. And right now he's saying his prayers. Please, you young whippersnapper, come over the top of me. At least call this bet.
So weird.
He has no idea how unweird it is.
You know it's a really weird raise, right? You have like 10-8 or something?
Keep going there, Tom. Keep guessing.
It's my hand that really fits. 10-8 thing. 10-7.
It gets a lot worse.
Nice hand.
Well, he does make the right decision and get away from that hand. But I can assure you he's very curious as to what Mike White had on this hand. His 2 checks on the flop and the turn induced Tom to bet on the river. Wow, very clever poker play he made right there. Well, Mike's fan club is growing, Vince, and why not? You're going to have plenty of friends when you take down $1.7 million.
Such a weird raise, man. That's him.
Did you have it?
Did I have what?
It.
It? I was born with it, baby.
Oh.
His confidence growing here by our chip leader. Cards being shuffled and dealt once again. They're around the table. Action's going to be on Mike Vella. Looks down at an ace-7, but won't play it.
And to Mike White, the chip leader. And look at this, Vince. He picks up another big hand. Here he's got ace-king.
A human card rack at this moment.
His wife is loving it, Vince. She packs his lunch every day. She's going to say if he wins this tournament, maybe I don't have to pack lunch anymore for a while.
Raise.
What a rush he is on. And yes, he is going to raise an additional 180,000. That's 240 to go.
And Nick Schulman looks down at the king-queen now.
Nick Schulman saying to himself, does this guy always catch cards?
Well, Vince, he's played a lot of pots at this final table. And anytime a guy does that, you just can't imagine he can catch a hand every time. You think he's putting some moves on the pot. And obviously Nick must think it because he's calling this $240,000 bet here with a king-queen.
Wants to get back at his old nemesis. And now Tom Dwan has a queen, 8 of hearts. But he goes out.
Round to the defending champion, Nanad Medic. Nanad's picked up a nice hand. He's got 2 10s.
And this is a position where you see a guy came in, potential dead money out there. Good time to pump it up.
The chip leader raised, Called by a former champion of this tournament. What do you do now in the big blind with 2 10s?
I'll go all in.
Well, there's your answer. He's going all in here. Not fooling around. Putting the whole $1.7 million out there right now with 2 10s.
That is going to perk up Mike White. Mike looks over to his left. He realizes Nick probably won't call because he just called off when he raised before, so.
Nick didn't re-raise him originally. He just called it.
I'm all in.
And look at this. He's going to go over the top. He's gone all in.
You're right, Vince. He's gambling here. He's got the chips. He can afford to do it.
Nick does go out.
Well, everybody on their feet here.
There or ace king?
Ace king.
One more time, the defending champion, Nanad Medic, all in.
Yeah, they turn up the cards.
Well, this time we're in a race situation. But unfortunately for Mike White, Nick Schulman had a king in his hand. That kills one of his cards.
Chip.
King.
A king.
If Mike White gets lucky and wins this pot with the ace-king, we'll be down to 4 players, and the defending champion will be gone.
Not 10s again.
5 cards can change his life drastically. We will see what happens. We're coming back with the action in just a moment. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. Here we go. All in by Nanad Medic.
Mike White with the ace-king. Nanad Medic has the 2 10s.
It is the part of the night. 5 cards to come. Got to get lucky. His girlfriend, Milena, can't even stand up. Philippe and his brother, Mirko, sweating him on.
And if the defending champion is going to defend his title, he must win this pot. Well, here comes the flop. Oh! A 10 right in the door. 30 miles for Nanad Medic. For Mike White to win this pot, he's got to catch a running jack and queen or 2 running diamonds that don't pair the board.
That is a beam on the construction man's head. Here comes the turn card.
Come on. Queen of diamonds.
Ooh.
Well, he got one of his straight cards. The jack of hearts came off. He now needs a queen to make an ace-high straight to win this pot. But his problem is Nick Schulman folded a queen and Tom Dwan folded a queen in his hand. So he's only got 2 outs. He must catch one of the 2 remaining queens to make an ace-high straight. Otherwise, Nanad Medic will double up.
Can he get lucky?
No! The king comes off. So Mike White makes the 2 kings. That's not good enough. Nanad Medic makes 3 10s. Nanad has bolted the second chip position in an effort to defend his title. He's got a few friends in the house as well. It's not all of Mike White fan club here.
And that is the first hit there from Mike White, the construction man. Everything has gone his way so far. He's going to have to take a step backwards.
We've got 5 players left fighting it out for a $1.7 million first place prize. And poker history potentially in the making tonight, as 2 players out of the 5 have won this event before, and never in the history of the World Poker Tour has a player won the same event twice. That could happen tonight, Vince.
Yeah, I like these cards better.
Now the very pesky Tom Dwan has a miserable-looking 4-3, but he's hesitating here.
Well, Vince, we've seen some creative plays out of this guy so far tonight at this final table. And it looks like here comes another one. He's going to raise it up with the 4 high here. Makes it $165,000 to go.
Very impressive. Nanad going out. And now the chip leader, Mike Vella. He's got a queen jack in the small blind. And he's going to call it. Behind him is the construction man, Mike White.
Cost me another 85.
So because we have 2 mics at this table, 2 amateur mics at that, let's call Mike Vella cufflinks. And we can call Mike White the construction man.
All right. Mike White is going to make the call.
Nice little min raise.
So here we go.
Nice
3-way action here.
I know exactly what you have now.
Yeah.
Right, here comes the flop.
I read about it in the book.
Well, flop comes queen 8-5 with 2 hearts. Mike Vella out in front with the 2 queens.
Cufflinks is going to bet $410,000 with the top pair.
Now let's see what Mike White is going to do here. Mike has a 10-high flush draw. He is getting out some raisin chips.
Oh, boy.
No raise.
Well, he is going to raise with a 10-high flush draw here, Vance. $1 million straight.
I like the way these cards look a lot.
He is on the 4 flush, playing it fast.
But I don't like my hand.
Tom Dwan quickly going out.
Back around to Mike Vella.
The cards are a lot nicer, though.
Heart draw, huh, Mikey?
Well, he's going to make the call. So apparently he thinks Mike White might be on a flush draw here. Got to feel like his 2 queens are the best hand or he wouldn't be making the call.
Here we go with a turn.
Ace of clubs comes on the turn. No help for either player. Action's on cufflinks. And I don't think either player liking to see that card.
Check.
And he is going to check his queens.
Mike White, the amateur player, looks over at his chips. Could he possibly fire at this pot with just the 10 high? He could take a free card off to try to make this flush.
1.2.
But he's betting $1,200,000.
How much is left over there?
Mike Villa says how much you got behind that.
Well, he doesn't have a lot left, Vince. Only about 700,000.
Not what you want to hear when you've just put in 1.2 and you're on a 4 flush.
Now we're back to Mike Vella. And you thought your queens might have been the best hand on the flop when you called a $600,000 raise. What do you do now on the turn when an ace comes out there and your opponent bets you $1.2 million? You're sitting there looking at second pair.
Show me if I fold, Mikey.
Oh, Mike's wife, Erin, she'll be happy when he gets back to the work site. Can't take it anymore. This is too stressful.
Show me if I fold.
For you, I will.
Mike Vella just has 2 queens here. Remember, he got raised on the flop. Now his opponent's bet $1.2 million here on the turn. If a guy can make this call with second pair, wow. That's all I can say.
Well, a lot of pros would muck this hand right now. Couldn't take the heat. Let's see if Mike Vella can make the right move here.
His opponent only has about 700,000 left. So in my view, if you put your opponent on a draw here, meaning if you think he's got a straight or a flush draw, if you're going to play this pot, you should just go ahead and set him all in right now if you're going to play it. But
that would be right.
Calling a raising here is still very tough to do when you just have second pair.
Well, he is in complete indecision right now. And at times like this, you got to ask yourself, what would Doyle do?
I'll call.
Well, Vince, I don't know that Doyle would do it, but Mike Vella is making the call.
Oh, wow, what a good call.
What a call it is.
I'll check dark, Mike.
And he's going to check in the dark, he says. He's announced that already.
Now, Mike White needs a heart to win this pot.
River card coming up.
Well, the 9 of spades comes off.
So the construction man did not hit his flush.
Well, what's Mike White going to do? His problem, Vince, he's only got about 700,000 left. There's about $5 million in the pot.
He wants to fire again, but now he's realizing perhaps that he can't bluff this man out. This is a complete catastrophe for the construction guy.
Come on, Mike. Which Mike you rooting for?
Well, the longer he takes to make a decision, the more likely Mike Vella is going to call it.
You're not on the right side.
Mike Vella seems very calm and cool here with just 2 queens in this spot.
Nice call.
Well, Mike just gives it up.
He has checked it.
Well, he waves a white flag. He
boy.
checks it down. Cufflinks. Mike Vella is going to win this pot. What a call by Mike Vella there on the turn to win that pot.
You weren't going anywhere after calling the 1.2, so I
Had the 7 counted out.
bluff you out of it.
Had the 7 counted out.
That is the call of the night, sticking around with just queens. He is gambling. He's going after a title, not just to stick around. Hope you'll stick around. We're coming back with more action from Foxwoods in just a moment.
I think I have a storyline. I figured it out yesterday. You have the 2 champions in the final table here. And what a great story it would be for them to go heads up. I think it'd be a better story to have a Cinderella from Newburgh, New York, who doesn't play a whole heck of a lot of poker, come out and take out the last 2 champions. My mentality is let's get down to 3, then I'm going to go get them.
Oh, Edward, no, please don't come in. I know this must be difficult for you, and it's really not your fault. But I've met Troy now, and intellectually, he's more on my plane.
You got a plane? Bad poker face. Doesn't matter when you play online at partypoker.com. It's fun, it's easy, it's the world's largest poker room.
Twin engine?
Welcome back to Foxwoods World Poker Finals. Hey guys, I'm Layla Cayley, and here's a recap of the race for the $1.7 million first place prize and one of poker's biggest titles. Check it out. At Foxwoods, there were fireworks right from the start, as defending champ Nenad Medic doubled up through 21-year-old Tom Dwan.
Lightning strike for the defending champion, Vince.
And then gathered even more chips by knocking out veteran pro Mark Weitzman. 2 amateurs named Mike proved they could outplay and outtalk the pros.
Did you have it?
I was born with it, baby.
Oh.
Leaving 5 strong players left in contention for one of the biggest titles of the year. While 2 former Foxwoods champs strive to catch lightning once more, 3 others look to steal their thunder by taking home the $1.7 million first place prize and making some WPT history of their own.
5 players remain. Mike Vella, an amateur player, extends his chip lead, and Mike White, the construction guy, this is just one big hangover for him. He has gone from the chip leader down to now the short stack.
Well, you're right, Vince. Just a moment ago, he was the big chip leader with $4.8 million in chips. His chips are disappearing like sand in a 50-mile-an-hour wind.
And now our chip leader, Mike Vella, cufflinks, I should say, with a king 10.
Has capped his cards, and he is going to raise it here. Makes it $175,000 to go.
Into the construction man, Mike White. He's going over the top with a 6-7 of diamonds all in.
Well, I can't believe he's putting his last $500,000 in here, Vince.
Pull the 175, please, Lynn.
Nick Schulman has folded. Tom Dwan has gone out.
Well, I say that because he's got 2 guys yet to act behind him, but also the big chip leader is going to be pot committed to call. It doesn't matter what his 2 cards are, and chances are he can beat 7 high. So you're going to get called in this spot.
So Mike Vella now.
Well,
pretty automatic, I would think.
Well, there's $860,000 in the pot. Going to cost him $340 to make the call. He can sure well afford to do it.
Okay.
And he is pot committed. He has made the call. They have shaken hands.
The construction guy, Mike White, is close to putting the tool belt back on here. He's going to have to get lucky to win this pot. So you just have to scratch your head and think this amateur just had a mental lapse there. You have to understand that you're going to be called in that situation. Had he moved all in to start with, if it had been his turn first with a 7-6, then you wouldn't criticize him because he's making a play of the pot where a guy didn't have anything invested.
Just 2 6s on the flop would be nice.
A little while back, he was the big chip leader with 5 players left.
Well, right now, all his chips are in.
His tournament life on the line right here.
Whatever happens, I never thought I was going to be this far, so.
Well, flop comes Jack 4-3, so Mike White can catch a 5 and make a straight.
Not for me.
He needs a 7 or 6 to take the lead. He could also backdoor diamonds and win the pot.
Mike's going at it again with 2 cards to come.
Diamond, a 5, a 7, a 6. I got outs.
Cufflinks Mike Vella out in front with the king high.
King of clubs.
Oh, and the 10 of diamonds comes on the turn.
Got some hope here.
Yeah, I got more outs.
Mike White not out of it. He can make a diamond flush and he can make a straight.
Miracles can happen here at Foxwoods. We are down to the last card.
He must catch a diamond or a 5.
That took away the 6-7 for me, but
Otherwise, Mike White is going to be our 5th place finisher.
I got 12 outs.
King of clubs.
River card
Well,
coming
the
up.
deuce of clubs. One amateur is going to knock out the other. Mike White seemingly sliding down a mountain full of ice here lately. And Vince, that's just the kind of play that a professional player would never make in that spot.
Chips away, I'm giving them the Good luck. Great time.
By moving in when you're absolutely going to get called for sure, and you're just holding a 7 high.
A very strong effort by the construction man, Mike White, but he finally drives the jackhammer into his own heart, and right now he's going to talk to Layla.
This must have been so exciting for you.
This is very exciting for me. Like I said, I got in here on a little home satellite that we had with some friends, and to get to this point is just, it was a dream. Playing against these guys is just unbelievable. I will wake up from this dream probably tomorrow morning when I go back to work. But this has been great.
The body count continues to grow here at Foxwoods. Stay tuned. We're coming back with more action on the WPT. Welcome back to Foxwoods. The World Poker Finals continues four-handed. We just had to say goodbye to Mike White, the construction man.
Well, he won a home game satellite to get into this tournament and certainly performed well all week to make it to this final table. Made a few bobbles down the stretch.
And now the amateur Mike Vella with over $7.3 million out in front. He's an investment man. We like to call him cufflinks. Action's going to be on the Nod Medic in this hand. And the Nod has a pretty strong hand. Ace-Queen offsuit.
Well, that's a pretty big hand in a four-handed poker game, no doubt about it. The Nad's going to raise with it. Makes it $250,000 to go.
Into the chip leader, Mike Vella. He's got Queen, Jack of clubs.
Well, he's got one of those hands you want to see a flop with. He certainly got the chips where he can afford to make the call, and he does so.
Nick going away. Now Tom Dwan with 10-7. Won't play that, so two-way action.
The Nad with the ace-queen. Cufflinks with the queen-jack.
Here's our flop.
Oh, flop comes King, Jack 7 with 2 clubs. Things just continuing to go well for the chip leader.
How much you left over there, bud?
As he's flopped a pair and a flush
Just
draw.
started with $3 million.
And now with an inside straight draw, he checks.
Check one.
And Mike is going to check behind it.
A little puzzled by that check, but let's see what happens here. Oh, the 10 of spade comes on the turn. And Nadmatic now has the best hand possible, the ace high straight.
Absolute cinch. Show tunes going off in his head.
Well, he's going to bet, too, and a healthy bet. $425,000. The cufflinks better be a little careful right here. Little does he know he's up against the best hand possible. Remember, he's got 2 jacks and a club flush draw. He also has an open-end straight draw. He could tie this hand if an ace comes off. Well, Mike Vella's made the call.
Yeah, nice slowdown perhaps. River card coming up. Will he catch his club?
Now the board pairs 10s. Showing the Nat well out in front with the ace high straight. Let's see what he does with it. He's going to check. And Mike Vella very happy that he checks there.
Ace queen, right? Ace queen. Yep, right where I had you.
No, but a pretty cautious move right there. But I'm kind of surprised at that. It will leave you some money on the table. You got to make the bet. With the straight at that point, you got to make a value bet there, I believe. And Mike, very excited. Looks like he won the pot. He didn't bite. He didn't bet.
I missed the bet. That's what.
And that's the way pros think, folks. You've got to get value out of your hands and make some bets where you're going to get paid off to earn some extra money. There was a situation that Nanad could have got some extra money had he bet on the river.
All right, play goes right back to Nanad. He's going to fold his 5-3. Mike Vella also going out.
So it's a battle of the blinds now. Action on Nick Schulman, WPT champion who won this tournament 2 years ago.
Took home $2.1 million in that event.
Yeah, he's got a king-9 offsuit.
And he's going to raise with it.
He knows king high is favored over a random big blind hand, so he makes it $240,000 to go. Tom Dwan with the 4-5 of spade.
You have 3-ish?
We learn nothing else about this guy.
Roughly? It doesn't.
We know he's a defender.
Roughly?
He's a creative player. He likes to play a lot of hands. He's got position and a chip lead over Nick Schulman.
And yes, he is going to play it.
Well, he does make the call. Wants to see a flop. Just hoping he can get lucky and catch something. Well, the flop comes Jack, 9-4, all different suits.
Both of them got a piece of that. Nick Schulman 9s, Tom Dwan 4s.
So Nick Schulman has flopped second pair, and he is going to bet here. And a pretty healthy bet, $420,000.
This is the problem you have if you call with just a 5-4 and you get a little piece of it. Now what to do?
Well, you're just hoping your opponent's got a straight draw or just making some kind of move at a pot. And Tom Dwan is going to call him with bottom pair here. So he's made the call. Here comes the turn card. The jack of clubs comes off, pairing the jacks. Action on Nick. He's out in front right now with jacks and 9s. And Vince, I'd have to think Nick feels good about that card coming off. He would suspect that had Tom had the top pair, had a jack in his hand, he'd have raised him on the flop. That didn't happen. So I'm certain Nick feels like he's got the best hand right here, and he's going to bet.
$600,000 with the 9s. And now Tom Dwan in a precarious position right now with his 4s.
He's only got bottom pair, remember. He's at a guess situation. Whether Nick is bluffing at the hand, has some type of straight draw, or does he really have a jack or a 9 in his hand?
And Tom Dwan has a nickname called Durr. To me, it looks a little more like Chachi.
And they might have to change it to Duh. He plays this hand a lot longer. But he's going to make the call here, Vince. He's called $600,000 more, and as the cards lie, he can only win this pot if a 4 comes off.
Chachi going the wrong way fast with this one. River card coming up. It's a 6. Didn't help Tom Dwan.
Well, it's also a great card for Nick in that it's no apparent help for anybody here. He felt like his 2 9s were the best hand on the turn. He's going to make a nice bet here on the river.
This is a very gutsy, beautiful read by Nick Schulman, putting out $840,000.
Now, poor Tom Dwan is in the mixing bowl, Vince, and the machine is on.
Trouble started when he played this after the raise. Stuck around with a 5-4.
This is what happens when you start calling with bottom pair. When your opponent continues to bet at the pot, you're at a guess as to whether or not they've got the hand or they're on a draw.
Nick has him totally figured out, that he has a piece of it, that he has a beat.
100% Nick knows he has the best hand right now.
It's so weird. Right after I count it out, you take a drink. That's so weird. I'm going to take a drink, too.
Weird is being 21 going after millions of dollars at a poker table. That's what weird is.
He does like to talk a lot, no doubt about it. Now, he plays a lot of online poker, so you know he's talking to his computer all the time. But here in a live setting, he's still talking. Doesn't stop him.
Looking miserable. I gotta say, I liked him better when he was very cocky.
I call.
Oh, boy.
Well, he's made the call. And Nick confidently turns up the 2 9s, knowing they were the best hand. And he is going to win a monster pot here.
And that was a complete debacle with Chachi. He is spinning out of control.
Is that water thing intentional? Is that water thing intentional? No.
Well, that's what WPT champions do, folks. They get value bets in just the right amount that you're going to get paid off with.
The crowd loving it. Nick Schulman, and he's taking down a huge pot. Pain and loathing here at Foxwoods. Stay tuned as youth keeps on gambling. We're coming back for more on the WPT.
Live players, they're somewhat cockier. They don't want to be proven wrong, don't want to be told they're wrong, and want to just assume everything they did was right. Whereas if I played a hand badly, I have no problem with all my friends coming up to me and saying, hey, I think you played that bad. Maybe I'd rather them wait 5 minutes after it happened, but that's about it.
Welcome back to Foxwoods. The World Poker Finals continues four-handed. And right now, Mike Vella, also known as Cufflinks, is our chip leader with close to $7 million.
And he's up against 3 tough young pros, including 2 champions of this event. All of them 24 years or younger in age. Who's going to take this title in the $1.7 million?
Tom Dwan has taken the hit. He's down to the short stack with about $1.8 million, the youngest winner ever on the WPT. Nick Schulman, former winner here at Foxwoods. He's got a pair of jacks.
A beautiful hand. He raises to $225,000.
Chachi going away. And Nod Medic now with ace-5. He will play that.
So it's around to the chip leader, the amateur, Mike Vella. Mike looks down at king-3 of spade. He's got $80,000 invested in the pot.
Call.
And he's going to call another $145,000 more. Wants to see a flop with the king-3 of spade. So Nick with the 2 jacks out in front right now. Here comes the flop. The flop comes queen, queen 10. Action's on Mike Vella. He's going to check the king high.
Yes, he is. Nick Schulman now with the jacks.
Wow, Nick checks 2 jacks there. A little puzzled by that. Now the 10 of spade comes on the turn, so there's 2 pair out there. But Mike Vella now has a spade flush draw. He's taking a stab at this pot.
That's $325,000 worth.
Nick Schulman is going to make the call here with the 2 jacks. Scary. 4 cards out there. You're always fearful your opponent's got a full house. Now the 6 of spade comes off. Mike Vella has made a spade flush. He now has the best hand.
But he's quickly checked it.
All right. Well, Nick has checked right behind him.
King high.
Mike doesn't even see he's got a flush, I don't think, Vince.
Oh, you're right. He didn't realize it. Wow.
Lucky for him, he turned his 2 cards face up where they could read his hand. Look at him. He sits back in his seat. And Nick Schulman, a little disgusted right now. A, with himself for not betting on the flop with a turn. And B,
I'm not mad.
because his opponent won a pot and didn't even know he had the winning hand.
Sorry about that, Nick. I didn't know.
No problem, man.
Obviously, I would have bet.
You gotta be happy you flipped it over.
Yeah.
Cufflinks, not even seeing the flush, takes down that pot.
Well, Vince, that's when you know you're running good. When you're winning pots that you think you lost. But notice the demeanor of Nick Schulman.
Shakes his head there a little bit, and this time he looks down at a pair of deuces.
Well, he couldn't win with 2 fish hooks, the 2 jacks. And he's going to raise again. Makes it $225,000 to go with the 2 deuces.
That's Sam.
But right behind him, Chachi has big slick ace-king.
Well, Vince, he's also down to the short stack here. He's only got $1.3 million in chips left.
I'm all in.
Well, he's going all in with the ace-king here. Can't blame him for doing that.
Putting all his chips out there and they're not going away.
That's around to the big chip leader, Mike Vella.
He's in the big blind. He's got king-jack.
Well, seemingly everything going his way right now, but I don't know what he's thinking about here. The pot's been raised and all in front of him, and he's only got a king-jack.
But he is taking his time with it.
Well, against one player,
$1,065,000.
it's a marginal contemplation as to whether you play or not. But against two players, especially an all-in player, meaning you can't win any more money in this pot, even if you hit the flop here. You can't even consider playing this, at least I don't think. He's in a comfortable chip lead position. Why would you want to gamble $1.3 million in your chip stack on a questionable call like this?
He is an amateur player. He's a vice president of an investment company. And I would not call this a shrewd investment if you should make this call.
Well, Vance, another factor is Nick Schulman's not out of this pot yet, and he's got a lot more than $1.3 million in chips. He could come back over the top of you yet again if you stumbled your way in this pot.
He got in this tournament through a super satellite, put up $1,100, won his way into the big one.
Well, Vance, he did tell me before this final table started, it's not about the money with him. He's after the W.
Oh, cool.
Look at
He's going to try to do it because he's gambling right here.
Yep.
He has made the call for $1.3 million.
Nick Schulman going out. I am too.
Ironically, Nick Schulman throwing away the best hand.
And Tom loving this as he turns up his ace-king.
Now, he may well win this pot.
Jacks.
But I don't like this call of $1.3 million here, where you're going to double up a tough young player like a Tom Dwan if you lose it.
Jacks have been good for me the whole tournament.
Tom Dwan came in as the chip leader. All his chips are in right now.
Do you want to come up on stage and call for it? You can. It'd be funny.
Tom is having a good time with his friends. His friends, once again, jinxing him on purpose. How do you like to have friends like that, Mike?
Boy. Well, his buddies are calling for a jack here just to put the needle in him.
But he doesn't care. He's still happy.
Good luck, man.
Well, you too.
Here's the flop.
2 jacks.
Jack, one time.
Well, the flop comes 10-7-3. Nice flop for Tom Dwan, and it is out front for Mike Vella to win this pot. He's going to have to catch a jack to take the lead or 2 running cards to make it straight. Now, Tom Dwan's 21. He is loving it, and why not? This pot's got nearly $3 million in it. And as the board pairs tens, we are down to the river card.
Only 3 left to call for.
And the only way Tom Dwan can lose this pot is if a jack pops up there.
He can't hide his smiles. He is smirking. He is slurping his drink.
Laughing, confident.
It'll be better.
Very happy about the situation, and why not? Oh! Wow! Unbelievable river card right there to knock Tom Dwan out of this tournament. Mike Vella is a jack in the box. He pops up out of his seat and goes over and hugs his fans. He knows he's hit lightning at the river here. Tough luck for the 21-year-old Tom Dwan. You can't get your money in much better than that. He took an ugly beat on the river, and Tom Dwan is going to be our 4th place finisher.
Going to pick up $324,000. Chachi has to say goodnight, but what a hit that was on the river. A miracle at Foxwoods. We are down to 3 players.
All tournament jacks have been loving me.
We have 2 professionals that have taken the Foxwoods title before, up against an amateur investment man we like to call cufflinks. Who will take the title? Stay tuned. We're coming back with more action in just a few moments.
Good luck, man. Sorry.
No, I don't need luck.
You say I don't need luck?
Good luck in your future endeavors.
Don't just watch the WPT, play the WPT.
Visit WPT on GSN.com. Welcome back to the World Poker Tour. The World Poker Finals continues. We are down to 3-handed action, and right now it is all about cufflinks. Mike Vella, the amateur investment man, he is the chip leader with close to $11 million.
Well, Vince, I don't agree. It's all about the amateur. You've got 2 WPT champions he's up against, the guys that have won this event the last 2 years. So I don't think it's going to be any walk in the park for him to win this tournament, even though he's got a massive chip lead right now.
It's on Mike Vella. He's got a 9-8 this time.
He is just going to try to push him around because he's got the big chip lead right now. Let's see if it'll work.
Making it $325,000 to go into Nick Schulman, who's got a pair of deuces. Again, I might add.
Nick hasn't fared so well with his pair so far at this final table. He's going to make the call here with the 2 ducks, though.
And Nod Medic going to fold a 3 deuce.
So it's 9-8 for cufflinks, 2 deuces for Nick. Here comes the flop. And the flop comes King 6 deuce. Nick Schulman has flopped 3 deuces and checks. And Mike Vella, cufflinks, checks quickly right behind him.
And Nick catching the case deuce there on the flop.
Now the 4 hearts comes off, meaning a potential flush and potential straight on the board. So you're not going to check to give your opponent a free shot to beat you. He bets out.
530,000, and it's going to work.
Cufflinks throws his hand away, but as you can see, Nick not happy that somehow he didn't get more value out of that hand.
Not much you can do.
Well, it's just amazing to me the timing that Mike Vela seems to have. I mean, most people would have made a continuation bet right there, but he just opted to check and then throw it away. And after Nick flopped a set, he got no more money out of that hand.
Nick Shillman out of New York City has his girlfriend Catherine in the audience. His friends Steve and Gina rooting him on. Right back on him. It's on Nick, and he's got a king-queen this time with the button.
Well, he's going to raise it up. He makes it $225,000 to go. Again, the Nad gets out. And Mike Vela has made the call with a king-9. So the same two guys going at it here. Nick Shulman well out in front right now. Here comes the flop. Flop comes ace, jack, 7. Nick has flopped an ace-high straight draw, but Mike Vela leading right out into the razor here.
Yeah, I'm going to try to take the play away from Nick.
And a big bet, $450,000. And as you can see, Nick just doesn't believe the guy's got 2 aces or probably even 2 jacks.
Well, he's made the call.
Why would he lead out into me when I raised before the flop? 6 of clubs comes off on the turn.
Helping neither player again. Now, will the amateur strike? Yes, he's going to do it again with absolute poppycock.
Well, he is firing a second shell here. And a big one, $800,000.
Once again, betting out on Nick.
Well, this amateur player has turned into a pit bull right now. He is just trying to push him around like a mop. And I'll tell you, even though you can see Nick suspects a little larceny here, very tough to call an $800,000 bet here when you could be facing another huge bet on the river. And then what are you going to do with your king-queen? Well, Nick does lay down the hand. And Vince, there's one you got to credit Mike Vela for earning that pot. He fired 2 shells into the guy that raised a pre-flop with nothing there. He took down that pot. He may make some mistakes, but he's doing a few things right, I can tell you that, as he builds up his chip lead.
Well, because of that bluff, I want to forgive him for not seeing the flush on the river. All is fair and even at this point, and he's got all the chips. And as we go deeper into the forest of Foxwoods, we are going to go deeper with the antes and blinds. The blinds are going up to 50 and 100,000.
Well, Mike Vela not intimidated by these 2 guys that have won this event the last 2 years. Staying aggressive with the chip lead.
Action right back on him. Will finally muck a hand.
And he's going to rest and let the 2 young pros fight it out.
Now, Nick Shulman, he's got a queen, 3 of clubs. And he's going to put in more chips. He's going to raise.
And he makes it $300,000 to go.
In the meantime, look at Cufflinks is on the phone here.
Hey, baby, it's Daddy. I just want to say I love you and good night, okay? Give me Mikey quick.
Well,
to the family.
You got to love this, Vince. Even though he's playing for $1.7 million, it's family first.
That is great.
When he's talking to the kids on the phone, the other 2 kids are playing it out on the table.
I'll take a look now.
As Nanad makes the call with the king-10.
Could be a big Christmas for Mike's kids this year. Back to the action. King-10 versus Queen-3.
Oh,
and look at this flop.
King, Queen-10. Nanad has flopped top and bottom pair. Nick has flopped middle pair. He checks, and Nanad checks right behind him with 2 pair.
And he's going to play it sneaky. Here comes the turn card. It's a 4 of spades helping neither player.
Well, again, Nick checks. That's because there's so many straight cards out there. I'm a little puzzled why Nanad checked on the flop, but he's not checking here. He's going to bet $500,000.
He was going to gamble that a junk card falls, and it did. Nick Shulman with second best pair of queens.
Sort of spiraling out of control here a little bit.
Oh, boy.
He's going to call here with just the 2 queens. As the cards lie, needs a queen to win this pot.
Yep, in a bad place right now.
Oh, the queen does come on the river.
Unbelievable.
Nick Shulman has made 3 queens. He now has the best hand, and he checks.
He quickly checked it.
Well, Nanad's problem is this queen counterfeited his hand. He's still got 2 pair, but now it's kings and queens with a 10 kicker. Meaning if his opponent had a king or a queen, the best he can do is be tied or lose the pot.
Now, is Nanad going to fall into the trap here?
I think I got it. I got a king.
Oh, this is a good slow check. I like that.
Checks it. Nick wings his card to the center of the table. Even though he's won the pot, he's disgusted with himself because he missed yet another value bet on the river.
He certainly did. Checked it way too fast. And the nod escaping there. Didn't make the bet at the end. That was smart by him.
Nick Schulman is not pleased with the way he's played at this final table.
The next up on the World Poker Tour is your home. Come play with us at WPT on GSN.com.
I want to build a house with a yard for my kids, and that's something I'm looking very much forward to.
Yes, I'm excited. Very excited.
If I win, I'm going to call my accountant, bid in on a piece of property, and I want to pay cash for it. That's the plan.
We are back at Foxwoods as the World Poker Finals continues. Three-handed going after $1.7 million. And right now, cufflinks, Mike Vela, the amateur player, the investment man out in front with close to $11 million.
He's up against the two guys that have won this event the last 2 years, Nick Schulman and the Nad Medic. Incredible. Seemingly, Foxwoods always produces a great champion in this event. For these two guys, Twan Lee, two-time WPT champion, won it. The famed Hoyt Corkins has won here. Who's going to take the title tonight?
Well, Nick Schulman going to fold his hand and surrounded a nod. He's got a wired pair of fives here.
Well, the Nad Medic doesn't raise with the two fives. He's just calling with them, Vince.
And Cufflinks now looks down at a Jack 4, and he's happy to see the first three with that mess of a hand.
Terrible. What am I doing?
Here we go.
Now flop comes 8-7-4. And Nad's still out in front with the two fives. He also has a good shot straight draw.
Sorry about that.
He quickly checked it, and Mike is going to bet $300,000 with a piece of it, pair of fours.
He's going to put Nad to the test here. Now we can see Nad has the best hand with two fives. He also has a gut shot straight draw. Remember, he didn't raise pre-flop. Very easy for Mike Vela to have a 7 or an 8 in his hand. But Nad is going to make the call for $300,000. So here comes the turn card. Oh, the 5 of diamonds comes off. And Nad has made 3 fives, but there is a 4-card potential straight on the board.
And they both check. River card coming up. 9 of hearts.
Well, Vance, because Mike Vela checked on the turn, you have to assume Nad loves his 3 fives right now.
And look at Mike Vela getting the chips out like he's going to call, trying to act strong like he's definitely call, so don't bet. Trying to discourage the bet here of Nad.
Well, that's not going to work with a top pro like the Nad Medic. He leads out and bet $600,000, probably just because this guy was reaching for chips like he was going to call a bet.
And it's just like a home game play, and it just won't work out here on the WPT.
God, kept getting worse, that board.
Yeah, Mike throws his 2 fours away. The Nad Medic, the defending champion, taking down that pot.
Yeah.
And the Nad getting one step closer to defending his title. A long time ago, the legendary Hall of Fame poker player Stu Unger, he said, Sexton, said anybody can win a poker tournament. Defending, that's where it's at. Well, the Nad Medic's got a shot to defend tonight, and what a valiant effort he's put into doing it this week.
It's going to be on Mike Vela. He's got an ace-jack in his hand, and he's going to pump it up with a raise, going to $450,000.
Nick Schulman going out. Now it's around to the Nad Medic. He looks down at ace-7 of diamonds, Vince. He's got a problem here. He's seen this chip leader, this amateur, just try to bully everybody around here. Has been doing a good job of it. You don't know if he's got a real hand or not.
We'll go on.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
The Nad Medic has gone all in here with the ace-7.
And a quick call by Cufflinks.
And right now, Mike Vela well out in front. He is in great shape to eliminate the defending champion of this tournament.
Good luck, kid.
Well, Vince, this was a massive call of a re-raise here. A $2.5 million call by the chip leader without even any hesitation with the ace-jack. Didn't even think about it for an instant. Just said, I call. Let's gamble.
And the Nod definitely stumbled here. He just didn't believe that Cufflinks had a huge hand.
I don't want to race against you, though.
And now he's got all his chips
you
in.
lost a race in 3 days.
And he's being dominated at this point.
This is like a race for Nanan.
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't lost one in 3 days.
He's played pretty good, too.
This has been the night of miracles so far on the river. Cards are popping up. Players are sticking around. And Nanad's girlfriend, Milena, just praying that her man spikes lucky here. His dream of becoming a first to win 2 WPT titles at the same event on the line right now. Let's take a look at the flop.
Clean.
Yeah, flop comes king 9-8. That is not good for Nad Medic.
Nope.
He's going to have to catch a 7 to take the lead or 2 running cards to make it straight. Otherwise, he's going to be out in 3rd place.
Deuce.
Cufflinks up
Deuce.
on his feet.
Deuce.
Well, Vince, he is feeling it right now.
Yeah, feeling the excitement.
He is in great shape here. Here comes the turn card. Oh, a jack comes off. That pairs Mike Vella, gives him 2 jacks, but it's not over.
That's not so good. It gives him more outs.
Mike knows it. He sees it, and Nanad can catch a 10 and make it straight.
I want that. It gives him more outs.
Earlier, Nanad was all in with 2 10s against an ace-king. He flopped 3 10s. He could use one of those 10s right here, Vince.
Could it be in the script one more time? Let's take a look at the river. Can he hit the 10?
No, another jack comes off. Mike Vella has made 3 jacks. He's going to win this pot and eliminate the defending champion. But Vince, you better stand up and salute Nanad Medic. What an effort he made to defend his title this week.
And a big hug to Nanad, always a graceful loser. As he goes aside to his friends, tremendous poker player they call Serb. He's going to pick up $486,000.
Just picture that.
He is out in 3rd place. He's up to talk to Layla.
Thanks, guys. Nanad, you almost had a back-to-back WPT championship under your belt. How are you feeling right now?
Right now I'm not feeling too good, but I'm happy with my effort. I thought I played good. Feel bad right now, but I can't complain. I was short the whole tournament. I got to root for my friend Nick. I think he's going to take it down. Since I couldn't do it, be the defending champ, I'm rooting for my boy Nick.
One more.
We are down to 2 players. Heads-up action about to start. Stay tuned. We're coming back with it on the World Poker Tour.
We play because poker's not a scratch-off ticket, a half-court jumper, or a knock on wood. It's no game of luck, poker. It's a game of patience and well-timed aggression. We know when we play, a little luck helps. But luck can't explain why final tables have so many familiar faces. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Mike Vella, he's been playing well, and he seems like he really wants to win. And you can just tell certain guys, aren't just happy to beat the final table. They're happy, only if they win. He just strikes me as one of those guys.
Welcome back to the World Poker Finals at Foxwoods. We're down to heads-up play. Very colorful money presentation, as it always is.
This is Red Bear Productions doing music and dances from the heart. Indian traditional battle dance here to parallel the poker game.
Just a spectacular show here at Foxwoods tonight. Meantime, where's the money? Here it comes.
Oh, boy.
Oh, he bangs it on the table there.
Oh, that is just a testosterone delivery there of the cash.
He's banging it out there for these 2 guys. He's not getting any of it.
The crowd is loving that.
Terrific presentation by Red Bear Productions. It's come down to an amateur from New York, Mike Vella. He's got nearly $13 million in chips up against WPT champion Nick Schulman, who won this tournament 2 years ago. Right now, the amateur with about a 3-1 chip lead over the young pro.
One of these players is going to be $1.7 million richer. Action's going to be on cufflinks. Mike Vella. This time he's looking down at an 8-7.
Now, Lance, he's going to keep the pressure on. Makes it $360,000 to go with an 8-high.
I'll raise it.
But Nick Schulman has ace-queen.
1.2 million.
He says re-raise.
He makes it $1.2 million to go. And without hesitation, Mike Vella calls it.
What is that, call?
He wants to get this thing over as quick as possible. Just hoping to hit a flop here. Over $2.4 million in the pot right now. Here comes the flop. Well, the flop comes 10-4-3 with 2 spades. No help to either player. Action is on Nick. Now Nick has about $3 million left. So what do you do here with ace-queen? Do you make the continuation bet? Well, look at Mike Vella here, Vince. He's trying to look strong. Most of the time when a guy's trying to look strong, he's usually weak.
Long.
Nick has moved all in here. And Mike can't compete with an 8-high. He lays it down.
Oh, tricky Nick can breathe again.
Well, he does take a deep breath right there, as you saw.
I was just hoping that the guy didn't catch some piece of that and might call him off.
No sooner than you say all in. If your opponent calls you, you just want to throw up right there.
Oh, it's a wonderful game. The winner's going to take home $1.7 million that goes with it. Also, that guaranteed seat at our championship worth millions more. Blind still 16, 120,000. Let's go to the next hand.
Well, Vince, it's not going to be easy beating this guy because he's playing so aggressive. Very difficult to beat an aggressive player.
Right back on Nick. He's got an uneventful 7-5 offsuit. Not going to slow him down, though. He's going to make it 350 to go.
Mike Vella looks down at 2 queens. He's got a monster hand here.
Oh, wow.
I raise.
And he says raise.
Let's see how much he's going to bet.
$1.2.
Oh, Vince, he's going to make it $1.2 million, the exact same amount Nick made it in the previous hand.
It's my raise 1.2.
Nice. I'm trying to learn, Nick. Trying to learn. Learn from the best.
Let's see how Nick can go any farther with his hand, and he doesn't. He lays it down. So Mike Vella takes down the pot. And Vince, if Mike Vella wins this tournament, he can trade those cufflinks in for platinum ones. Right now, the amateur with over a 2-1 chip lead over the former WPT champion. Let's see if he can cross the finish line and put on the glass slipper.
And it is on Mike Vella. This time with a 7-8 offsuit.
325.
Well, Vince, he continues to stay aggressive. It's led him to his success at this final table. He is not slowing down. And quickly, Nick Schulman calls him with a Jack-5 offsuit. Not what you'd call a premium hand at all.
Here we go with the flop.
Oh, a nice flop for Nick. He's flopped top pair, and he checks it.
600.
Mike Vella has a pair of 8s and an inside straight draw, and he's coming out to bet 600 grand. But a quick call by Nick Schulman.
Well, Vince, I'm very surprised Nick wouldn't raise it there because there's too many cards that can scare you off of this pot if you have 2 jacks, an ace, a king, a queen.
Well, a king comes on the turn, and Nick's going to check.
Check.
And Mike quickly checks right behind him.
Yeah, didn't help either player, but it does scare them.
Well,
a 10 on the river.
Well, Mike Vella has made the straight.
Wow. Mike Vella, again, feigning like he's going to make a quick call.
Action on Nick Schulman. He's got 2 jacks. Well, Nick Schulman is going to bet a pair of jacks here, even though there's an open-end straight on the board out there. He bets $1.1 million.
Call.
Well, he's been called by the straight. Nick says 2 jacks. Mike shows him the straight. He's going to win this pot. And Vince, I'm sure that Nick is not as disgusted with his river bet there as he is by not raising on the flop. I can't believe Nick Schulman didn't check raise him on the flop here with top pair. I say that because there's too many cards that will scare you on the turn. An ace, a king, a queen, a 10, a 7, a 9, an 8. All those cards petrify you if you just have 2 jacks. But he didn't raise there. Then Nick bet $1.1 million with an open-end straight out there with second pair.
Sometimes when things go bad in the hand, it just gets worse and worse. It compounds. It looks like he has a stiff migraine at this point.
Heads-up action continues when we come back on the WPT. Welcome back to the woods of Connecticut, where we are just moments away from crowning the newest WPT champion.
Well, it's come down to 2 guys from the state of New York, an amateur player from Newburgh, New York, Mike Vella, versus a top pro player, Nick Schulman, from New York City. He's down to heads up for this title. He's had a great week here.
He is wincing in pain right there, taking the heat.
Has a chance to become the first ever WPT champion to win the same event twice. But I guarantee you, he's not thrilled with his play at this final table.
Oh, it's right back on him, and this time he's picked up a wired pair of 5s. Not too bad. He's got a raise.
But in the meantime, Mike Vella's picked up a big hand too, Vince. He's got ace-queen. I'll be surprised if the chips don't go to the center here. There you see Mike's parents. They're holding their breath.
1.7.
And he is going to come over the top and raise it right here. Makes it $1.7 million. And that's essentially going to set Nick all in if he opts to play this hand.
Yeah, this is sink or swim time. And he's going over the top all in.
Nick's only got about $2.6 million left. So why not gamble here? We've got the classic race situation. It's the under pair versus the 2 overcards. Nick Schulman has a speed limit. He's got 2 5s. He's up against ace-queen.
Good luck, Mike.
And you see Mike Vella looks very confident with the ace-queen, Vince, and why not? Seemingly everything's going right for him at this final table. You really have to believe he's going to win this race, don't you?
What an upset this would be. The amateur player, Cufflinks, the investment man, would be taking this title. He is just 5 cards away.
Got to win one race.
He knows if he wins this pot, he's going to be our champion.
From a flop.
I play that hand so bad. I have the Jack 5 offsuit. What am I doing? Just folded pre-flop. I'm trying to like outplay him. It's really bad. Well, I'm worried about a 5 spiking one time.
Well, they're playing for $1.7 million and a $25,000 seat in the WPT World Championship. A lot on the line.
Tom Dwan sticking around. I like that. Got knocked out, but a good sport.
Well, both players bouncing up and down. They shake each other's hands. Now they know it's all in the hands of Lady Luck, Vince. You can do no more now. Your chips are out there. You just hold your breath and hope you win the pot. This fight's going to be over if Mike Vella wins this pot. Oh, it's come ace, Queen Jack. Michael Vella has flopped the top 2 pair.
That's not too good.
Nick Schulman disgusted with that flop. He's going to have to catch a 5.
5 of diamonds.
To make 3 5s. He could also get a split if it came a king and a 10.
5 of clubs.
Incredible flop there for Cufflinks. Mike Vella, a couple cards away from $1.7 million.
Well, Vince, it's almost like destiny is on his side. He overlooked the flush. The next hand, he caught the jack on the river to beat out Tom Dwan.
Here we go with the turn card. Can Nick get it? Not there. It's a 7 of clubs.
Well, Mike Vella 1 card away from putting on the glass slipper. Nick Schulman's going to have to catch a 5 if he's going to become a 2-time WPT champion tonight.
Come on, Vanessa.
Must catch a 5 on the river, or this tournament is history.
He's going to go to an amateur player. Cufflinks Mike, 1 card away from a title.
Well, she had a spade. Mike Vella thrust his fist up in the air. He goes over and hugs his family and fans. He has knocked off all these young superstar players and captured this crown.
He is $1.7 million richer. He has made one of the biggest upsets of the year. Mr. Cufflinks is our champion.
Lady Luck shining on him at this final table. Champion of the World Poker Finals, Michael Vella. For Vince Van Patten, Layla Cayley, and everyone at the World Poker Tour, I'm Mike Sexton saying thanks for watching. And until next time, may all your cards be live and your pots be monsters.